Am I the butthole for shouting at my ex in front of my daughters? I, 37 male, have 3 girls, 8, 10, and 12. Their mother walked out on us for another man when our youngest was around 4. My ex still stays in contact, though, and pays child support. A few weeks ago while doing laundry, I saw red spots on my oldest's underwear. I asked her if she knew about it, and she cried and told me she tried to call her mom, but my ex didn't call back. She'd been stuffing toilet paper in her underwear, hoping that would work. I explained to her that periods are nothing to be ashamed of, and found some great resources online for us to review together. I took her to the store to pick out brands of feminine products she wanted to use. She picked Playtex Sport because she's a gymnast. After we were done, I decided I should do the same thing with my other 2. My 12-year-old volunteered to be part of preparing them, and we made a whole night of it. It was wonderful, and I learned a lot. I even learned what a menstrual cup is, and how they benefit the environment. The other day, my ex called back. I'll usually arrange a video chat and leave the room so they can have some alone time, and when they're done chatting, I'll come back in to talk boring co-parenting stuff like school, bills, etc. This last time, my ex was furious with me for talking about periods with the girls. She shouted at me that I was sick and perverted. Why didn't I call her myself if I knew it was so urgent? I could have called one of their grandmas/aunts, but my mom has dementia, while her mom and sisters call me a loser because I teach kindergarten, so I'm not fond of them. My ex told me I was being immature and should have just toughed it out for the girls. This really pissed me off, so I shouted back that maybe if she wasn't such a deadbeat and answered her goddamned phone once in a while, she could have handled this. I brought up everything she does that hurts them. She hasn't been to a single soccer game, piano recital, or gymnastics meet in 2 years. Every other weekend when they come home from her house, they go straight to their rooms, only to emerge hours later asking me why she loves her new husband more than them, and what did they do to make her leave. My ex responded by saying I should tell them it's not their fault I couldn't satisfy her, and I screamed F you, and she just smirked and pointed behind me, saying look what you did. When I turned around, my 8-yo and 10-yo were standing in the doorway crying. It broke my heart. I never shout, so I know I scared them. My 12-yo stormed in and started screaming at her mom, and while I appreciate her sticking up for me, this is not a battle I want her fighting. My ex hung up before I could fully de-escalate the situation, and let's just say the girls have been given free reign of the ice cream and limitless hours of video games, because I feel so bad. I even watched all the Twilight movies with them, so don't say I don't love them. But in this instance, am I the butthole for shouting? NTA I'm disturbed that your ex-wife thinks it's not your place to talk about menstruation with your own kids. So I'm glad you broke that toxic thought process with your own kids. Good luck. Your ex-wife sounds like the devil that wanted to push your buttons to let your kids see you get heated sometimes. She's toxic and I'm glad your kids have a chance at life with a good parent. The fact that she grinned when the kids were crying and claimed it was his fault, when she chose to walk out and can't even show up to events. God, that woman is awful and my heart breaks for those kids. She is awful. She doesn't deserve that family she so certainly doesn't care for. I'd sue for full custody. She doesn't do anything anyways. The fact that girls feel sad about their mom not loving them as much as her new husband when they come back from their mother should be enough evidence that these girls don't feel welcomed at their mothers. Oh my gosh, yes. You see your kids in distress, and you're happy because it means the other parent is going to feel like crap about it? You're NTA, but you don't have any reason ever to yell at this woman again. She just acknowledged right there that you're the only parent these kids have who cares about them in the least, so from here on, calling her out for her failures would be redundant. Would be better with full custody and cutting this toxic woman out of his daughters' lives. That should probably be the girl's decision, honestly. Otherwise they might romanticize their idea of the mom in her absence and build her up to mythic proportions in their minds. If they choose to keep seeing her as she is until they get sick of get BS, then they can choose to cut contact with her of their own volition knowing they made that choice. Dad should totally give them the option of cutting contact anytime they choose. This 100%. My dad used me and my brother as pawns in some sort of twisted game that was all in his head. It sucks. This comment right here. It needs to be on top. Please. He did a really great job in teaching them that there's nothing to be embarrassed about when it comes to periods. Original post is an amazing father. He really is. Pat yourself on the back for being an example of how fathers should be. Thank you for being you. Absolutely not the butthole at all. If anything, Dad being so helpful and supportive with it and not making it a shameful thing is an amazing approach. Periods are a natural, normal thing, and the fact that the bio mom decided to make a big deal of him relaying info on it makes me strongly feel that she would have portrayed it in a negative light to the daughters. I'm with a lot of the other commenters in thinking the daughters were crying and reacting out of anger toward their bio mom, not out of fear of their dad. Ex-wife FTFY. Yo, I was thinking the same thing too, like it's really not Op's fault. How is she the one to make him look like the bad parent when really it's her who's making her own kids feel like crap and never being around for them? God, such a gaslighting queen. NTA. Okay, you should maybe have stopped the conversation when you found it getting out of hand, but she knew exactly what she was doing. She saw the kids behind you and didn't warn you, deliberately, so she is equally responsible for exposing them to the shouting. She sounds like a terrible mother and you sound like a great dad. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a dad talking to daughters about their body, as long as they are comfortable with the conversation. My dear old dad had 3 daughters only a year apart, and we all ended up syncing our periods. He knew exactly what each of us preferred and every month would leave a big bag of sanitary products and chocolate bars in our rooms. I like this idea, hope he doesn't mind if I steal it. Of course. Be careful though, it used to lead to arguments because we would go through the bags and get cross if someone had crunchy bars and wanted Snickers, or preferred a Mars bar to a Kit Kat. Make sure you get them exactly the same candy for them. All 3 hormonal teenagers in one house is asking for trouble. 12-year-old is a Kit Kat girl, 10-year-old likes Reese's, and 8-year-old likes Snickers. I know these girls better than I know myself sometimes, lol. You're just awesome. Can you adopt me? I'm 32, but still, your house sounds fun. Depends, can you fix my oven? I really don't want to buy a new one. It depends on what it is and isn't doing, but the most common thing to break is either the thermostat, needs to be reset, or the heating element, gas equals igniter instead. Check online for someone who offers to repair them, usually cheaper than replacing the whole appliance. Can confirm. Mine was the thermostat. After a few YouTube videos I ordered the correct replacement for my oven and did it myself. Took an hour and $20. Reddit, the place we judge you and fix your oven. It's pretty easy to get replacement parts for most of the common things that break in an oven. Just find the model number and start Googling. Ovens are very simple machines and are, usually, easy to fix with a screwdriver and a flashlight. BTW/r/OME improvement is a great resource for this kind of info. Reddit link. I'll look into that, thanks. No problem, I fixed the thermostat and broiler element on my oven for about $75 I think. Feel free to message me if you have any questions. We dads need to stick together. Dude. Get American Home Shield insurance. We pay $50 a month. Our oven crapped out and they gave us $950 towards a new one of our choosing. Also 32F here and would love to be adopted by you, smiley face. I want to come too. 26, have a great daddy-o, but still want to come hang at your house. Maybe at the moment, but you never know, all that estrogen might turn a Snickers lover into an almond joy girl. Female hormones do weird stuff. Exactly. Or they could cry because they suddenly want all 3 kinds, or they want to be the only one who is special for some reason and hates that their sisters also gets chocolate. Hormones make girls and women into completely irrational beings who know they're being irrational, are mad about it, and feel like being extra irrational will fix it. I know, I wish it weren't so. Good luck, Op. 12yo is a smart one. Kit Kats are by far the best chocolate. You don't need to make a big deal out of it because it isn't a big deal. Just leave pads and tampons in every bathroom where they are easy to find. I have 2 sons and while they were growing up I always stocked the guest bathrooms with tampons and pads. They were in a drawer with the extra toilet paper. And I had more under the sink. I had to restock them all the time, which means that people coming to my house were using them. They are in their 20s now and have moved out, but I still make sure there are pads and tampons in the bathrooms because they come home for visits and have friends that are women visit and they bring girlfriends around. I started doing this when my oldest was in 4th grade because I didn't want anyone to be at my house and be too embarrassed to ask for pads. If money allows, there's a fair number of places that do a monthly subscription box with pads/tampons in, plus chocolate or candy, beauty or body care things, plus other fun stuff. They do teen-specific ones, so it might be a fun thing to pick out for her. You sound like an awesome dad, and your daughters are going to be so thankful for the things you did and how great you were when they're older. I think your oldest already is. My dad did this with my mom and me, lol. We really did appreciate it. Just grab them a couple of their favorite treats each and leave the bag in their respective rooms. Subtle support is best, especially with teenagers just starting out. This so much. That ex is manipulative and takes zero responsibility. I got my first period one morning before school. My mom already left for work and my older sister was off at college. The only person home was my dad. I went crying into his home office and he was on a phone call. He told whoever he was taking to, he had to call them back. He asked me what was wrong and I told him I think I got my period. He immediately went into dad mode and showed me where my mom kept all the feminine products. He took the time to help me decide whether I wanted to use a pad or a tampon. He saw how confused I was about a tampon and he helped me get new underwear and showed me how the pad went on. I then went to change and he asked me if I was okay going to school that day. I told him I wanted to take the morning off and go in after lunch. That moment is never forgotten with me of how caring and concerned he was and made sure I was okay. Op is a great dad, and what he did for his daughters to help them will stick with them forever. I found my dad far more approachable to talk to in general about anything. He was a far more responsive parent than my mother. He treated us as individuals, each with our own likes and hobbies, and managed to connect with us through that, rather than treating us as the girls en masse like our mother did. I miss him every day. He was a great dad. Yours sounds lovely too. Is it weird that this made me think of Santa? My dad had a big bushy gray beard. He looked like a skinny version of Santa. The other thing he did was that if we were upset, having the usual teenage temper tantrums and staying in our rooms after slamming doors, he would leave us a mug of tea with cookies on the landing outside the door and push a little note underneath the door to tell us it was there, and he drew the most dorky little faces on it. This was well before cell phones. I wish I'd kept some of them. NTA. Your reason for frustration is valid. She didn't show up as a parent and then got mad when you chose not to follow suit. I think it's amazing you were there for your oldest, something I'm sure she will appreciate until literally forever. Shouting isn't cool, but I understand why you lost your cool. You were being empathetic and caring for your child, and you're rewarded by being called a pervert. That wouldn't cut it for me either. In a less public setting, without the girls, I'm sure your ex definitely deserved to hear more. However, I'm sure your girls know the truth of what's going on, and I know they know that you care for them. She is the type that hardly ever does anything around and nitpick how the things other did should be done in their way. And then just sit back and get mad for things not being their way. She's TA. NTA. Breaking the stigma around periods is great. Your girls will know they can trust you with anything. Your ex is 1000% a butthole. She was egging on that argument knowing full well your girls were there. Also, just a tip from a girl that had a single dad shortly after her period started, I'd suggest getting black underwear for the girls, cheap white sheets, so they can be bleached, and waterproof mattress protectors for their beds for if they have leaks. I leaked a lot the first 18 months, 2 years, and my dad had to help me clean up a lot. Did it without complaint every single time. Adding on to another person mentioning what their father did for his daughters, keeping hot water bottles and pain meds on standby with the chocolate is a great idea, especially if your daughters have the misfortune of suffering period pain. Thank you for the suggestions. They make amazing period underwear now. If the person leaks, it doesn't go through their pants. I wish they had existed when I was a kid. They even come in cute patterns now for tweens and teens. I'm going to second the period undies thing. I'm just getting into them now at 33, mostly for at nighttime, and then they're a godsend. I cannot tell you how much I wish I'd had these pairs of Motabody undies as a teen. They don't feel bulky or wet or smelly or whatever like pads do, but hold so much blood. Also, with 3 girls, there's a decent probability that you're going to have at least one really heavy / painful / irregular bleeder, so be prepared that you may need to have we can bring this up with your doctor and see if maybe something like birth control would be helpful for your issues. Talk with at least one of them in the future. You're definitely not the butthole here, and I think you've already shown your girls that they can trust you to defend and care for them, no matter how awkward the situation. I hope they help you. You're a great dad, and I'm so glad your daughters have an amazing dad like you. Get a bottle of hydrogen peroxide. It gets the blood stains out very easily. If you need a heat pad but don't have, put uncooked rice in a sock and microwave it for a minute or 2. If you need a heat pad but don't have, soak a hand towel in water and microwave it for a minute or 2. Fold inside any plastic bag, it shapes better on the body. You can use the same one multiple times in a day, just repeat the process. Goes better with a cup of hot chamomile tea at night. Chamomile relieves the pain and improves the sleep. I've recently discovered the period underwear that acts like a pad, and I really like them. It's weird, but I think I have less period pain. Might be a thing your girls would prefer. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.